down at Baskin-Robbins today.
Opening bell on Wall Street this morning being rung by Allied Gourmet. That is the second largest spirit company in the world. They also own Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin-Robbins, and Togo's. They are ringing the bell this morning following a mixed day. Yesterday, the Dow was down 31, the NASDAQ was up 8.
Well, hopefully they've got something to cheer about.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, July 31st already. I'm Sharon Ito.
And I'm Bryan. Dan Elliott has the day off spending time with family, but we've got, as always, Melissa Crowley checking what's a much better day on the road today than it was yesterday.
It is, and I love those little Dunkin' Donuts from Spirit. Those are great, those little tiny ones.
Get a Togo sandwich and then go over to Dunkin' Donuts.
Exactly.
Eat them by the dozen.
You or me?
You can.
You should see what this one eats. I won't even go there. You wouldn't even believe it. Anyway, for today, our school forecast, we are starting off with fair conditions. 62 degrees at the bus stop, 7 to 8 o'clock. Recess time, 11 to noon. Hazy sunshine and right around 79. Well, the rest of the forecast, not too bad. Highs will be in the low 90s right on through the end of the work week. Low to mid 90s over the weekend. Variable cloud cover from time to time. We'll have more on our 7-day forecast to come. Right now, a look at our commute.
If you're coming westbound 50 when you approach 65th, we have some reports of some insulation in the 3rd and 4th lanes. Those are the 3rd and 4th lanes from the left. Watch out for that. Otherwise, expect just a lot of company on the roads. No major accidents, including lots of company at the split. Coming from south of town, that's one of our busier areas. 99 at Mack Road, looking pretty good as we take a live look outside this morning. So far, so good here, and that's the case on 5, 50, and 80 in terms of major headaches. More traffic on the 10s, including a closer look at the Central Valley commute. But right now, back to you.
At 6:31, a major downturn in business is forcing Pravidian Financial Corporation to lay off hundreds of employees, and many of those people live in the Sacramento area. News 10's Karen Massey is live at the company's office just off I-5 in Natomas. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Sharon. The Pravidian Financial office here on Gateway Oaks, just by West El Camino, is closed right now, but some of the employees have told us that it may reopen briefly today for a meeting with them. Apparently, word came suddenly yesterday that the office was closing down, laying off 300 workers. Many arrived to find the parking lot empty and doors locked. Among them, Lori Toussaint, who had been on vacation visiting her grandmother. She says layoff rumors have been swirling around the office for weeks.
Until it happens, you just can't explain how that makes you feel. You know, we're supposed to buy a house in 4 weeks. How's that going to happen now? If I can't find another job, I can't buy a house now. You know, I have friends with children, and they're supporting their children. That's going to be hard for them. You know, yeah, we have a little bit of a severance package, but right now the market's tough.
This is the second round of layoffs at Pravidian's Sacramento office. Earlier this year, about 350 people were let go. Pravidian says by the end of this year that it also plans to close down its Fairfield office, and that move will put another 500 people out of work. So some very tough times for the company and its employees. Sharon.
Karen, any word if these employees will get some help in retraining or perhaps some tips on where to look for other jobs?
As a matter of fact, there's a transition package that's being offered. They're being offered help with resumes and looking for other jobs, and the company has told them that they will pay their current wages and their health insurance through September 30th. So a little bit of a cushion to kind of get them over the hump.
Still very tough blow for a lot of people this morning.
Very much so.
Thank you, Karen.
Job-related news on the other end of the spectrum now. A plan to hire recently retired Sacramento police officers to fill in an officer shortage is being called too little too late by some critics. The former officers would be hired for just a few months to a year until academy graduates and new hires can then fill the vacancies. But critics say the department is chronically short of officers. They point to the city's traffic division as seriously understaffed and say that that can mean a higher risk for both accidents and pedestrian fatalities.
I think we authorized a total of 43 in traffic, and now we're told from the chief a couple of weeks ago there's only 13.
We have currently an academy going right now. We're set to start another academy later this year, so we do see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Now, critics say the department isn't providing numbers on how far short other divisions are within the department. Chief Arturo Venegas has said he expects to see staffing levels to within 97% of normal by the end of the year.
Two Modesto children are in a Fresno hospital this morning after nearly drowning in a backyard swimming pool. Doctors say they were unable to detect brain activity in either the 3-year-old boy or his 2-year-old sister. Modesto police believe the two young children were left in the care of a 13-year-old neighbor when they fell into the pool. Their mother found the girl floating in the pool, and a search located the boy at the bottom of the pool. Family members performed CPR on both children until paramedics arrived. And now an update on California's Amber Alert system. The governor says all local law enforcement agencies have been notified, and now they're working with broadcasters to put the final pieces in place. The Amber Alert will be a statewide program alerting the public in the event of a child abduction. The system will use television, radio, even electronic road signs to get out as much information about the kidnapping as soon as possible.
Well, the governor is defending himself from another accusation of undue influence in California. Tosco's Avon refinery in Martinez wanted to increase the amount of cancer-causing dioxin it released into the San Francisco Bay, but the Regional Water Quality Control Board said no. 4 months later, the board reversed its decision, reportedly after Tosco donated $70,000 to the governor's campaign. Now, both Governor Davis's office and board members say there is no connection between the donation and the decision, but critics say Tosco spent 7 years trying to get the dioxin levels lifted with no luck until Tosco gave the governor its biggest donation ever.
A Newcastle attorney is expected to be free on bond this morning after his arrest on grand theft charges. Placer County prosecutors say James Harvey forged a client's signature on 2 checks for $30,000 each from a court settlement. Investigators also say Harvey failed to tell another client about a $50,000 settlement in a case involving a car accident. He allegedly later offered to return some, but not all of the money to a Grass Valley couple.
6:36 now is the time. You remember it. The interview was conducted last summer, but it is still on Gary Condit's mind.
And then the latest fitness claim. All you need is 8 minutes in the morning. You're watching News 10. Good morning.
Hear News 10 weather weekday mornings on 98 Rock.
Yo, Alyssa, would you like some help with that?
Yeah, I think I could use some.
So, Alyssa, how about helping us with the forecast for our season?
I predict high-pressure situations with a lot of dribbles in between. I think it's going to be a hot season. Great for going out to the game.
And speaking of hot, you want a hot shot? Check this out. Money, baby. Ew.
Yeah,
baby.
When the Monarchs want to know about the weather, they ask Alyssa.
News 10's Ask Alyssa.
We want to go ahead and tell you about a program that is just getting underway in Modesto. And let me pull up the script here. It's a Tracy chapter that's being started involving the Tough Love organization, and it was started by a parent who was having some difficulty controlling her own teenager. Now, this organization is a support group for parents whose kids may be in trouble with drugs or the law, or they act violently at home. The chapter is getting some help from a church there, and the parents are learning that they are not alone.
The first thing parents tell me is, I can't talk to my neighbors, I can't talk to my friends, their kids are all perfect. And I said, well, no, they're not.
Now, the Tracy chapter of Tough Love will have its first meeting in a few weeks, and if you'd like information, you can call 209-835-2041 for more information. But I think that's what a lot of parents need to know, that when they're having some difficulty with their kids at home, there's a place to turn, and if you hear other parents going through the struggle, it will hopefully make you stronger.
And a lot of the organizations that are out there that are set in place to help parents say that's one of the biggest challenges they face, is getting their message out to let parents know, hey, we're out here for you if you need us.
And sometimes these teens really do need some tough love.
Exactly.
6:39 is the time, and you know what? We were talking earlier about the Spruce Goose attraction in Long Beach. It was back in the 90s, but it's since moved to Oregon. So
when did we don't even know that move took place somewhere. It was rather recently, because you said you were there within the last 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was in Long Beach at the time.
At the time, next to what was the other attraction, Queen Mary?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the original Queen Mary, and now they're building the second one.
So if you want to see the Spruce
Goose, all
Goose,
this started to begin with.
Go north.
Yeah.
6:40 is our time. Let's go ahead and check in with Monica and Melissa. see how things are going on your end.
We're still here, haven't moved since the early 90s.
Exactly, we feel like it. Well, today we are going to see hazy and humid conditions. Highs will be in the low 90s, starting off with a bit of cloud cover this morning. Right now, our live look outside, you can see some of those clouds streaming through the back of the picture there. Otherwise, mostly clear as you head a little bit farther to the south. We are starting to see the clearing primarily around the Modesto area. All of that to take place throughout much of the Sacramento area later today. Sacramento right now at 60, Stockton at 59, Vacaville at 59, and Lake Tahoe at 45. Yesterday's highs in the low to mid 90s throughout the valley. Fairfield up to 90, San Francisco 63, and Lake Tahoe at 88. Not too much variance for today's forecast. We're going to continue with highs in the 60s along the coast under partly cloudy skies. Hazy sunshine for the valleys and foothills. Highs will be in the 90s, and a potential for an afternoon thunderstorm for the high country. Highs will stay in the 80s today. More on your 7-day forecast just 10 minutes ahead. There is a slight warm up ahead. I'll let you know about that coming up right now. Our commute.
No major accidents, just a couple slowdowns and a few minor problems to get you up to speed on. Still watching some insulation reported. This is westbound 50 right around 65th Street. Insulation in the 3 and 4 lanes, the 3rd and 4th lanes from the left. Lots of company right now at the split, and 80 starts to slow down. Elkhorn and Greenback on-ramps as you're hopping onto 80, so expect a little bit of delay there. And the normal crowds on 99 getting reports of slowdowns in the normal places, including Mac Road 47th and just north of 12th. I-5 looking good, a little bit slow eastbound as you hop onto the Cap City Freeway from I-5 northbound. No slowing reported though through the pocket at this time. Downtown Exchange looking good. Cap City Freeway, no major accidents reported, and headed into the Bay from the Central Valley. Central Valley accident and problem free at last check. So as you're commuting to the Bay Area, that problem in Vacaville, both directions eastbound and westbound at Meridian now cleared up, so expect a smooth ride headed that way. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. At 6:42, we've been hearing a lot about the rising rate of obesity, and while there's some debate about the actual numbers, few people would dispute the need for more exercise. Jorge Cruz is a weight loss coach in San Diego. He's got a program called 8 Minutes in the Morning, where he claims 8 minutes of exercise will help you lose weight. Some other fitness experts are skeptical, but Cruz says he's seen results.
It works for everyone, you know, especially people who don't have time, because it's done right at home.
Take the dog.
Some fitness coaches say you need at least 20 minutes of exercise for a good workout. Here's what's not in dispute. Research shows inactivity is as significant a risk factor for heart disease as smoking, high blood pressure, or obesity.
6:43 now is the time after a mixed day on Wall Street yesterday. The numbers so far looking down on both markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 36 at 8643, and the NASDAQ down slightly though at 11. It is 1,332 now.
And in a few hours, Pope John Paul II will elevate a Mexican Indian into sainthood. For Catholics of Mexican ancestry in Northern California, the canonization of Juan Diego is much more than a celebration of sainthood. It is a cultural triumph. Juan Diego will become the first indigenous Mexican to be elevated to sainthood. The U.S. National Shrine to the Virgin of Guadalupe is in downtown Sacramento, and parishioners there are preparing for a major celebration today. For the faithful, a high point will be the unveiling of the statue of Juan Diego.
A lot of happiness because Juan Diego will be in the altars now, and because the Virgin, I think, is awfully happy for that.
I do because I'm Mexican, and I do because I think it's very special. He's very special. He should be in the altars too.
The ceremony at the Blessed Lady of Guadalupe Church will feature Native American dances, choir presentations, and a rosary, and those festivities begin at 5:30 this evening. Gary Condit didn't have much to say to Connie Chung, but the Modesto congressman had plenty to say to Esquire magazine. In the September issue, Condit blames the media in general and Chung in particular for his political and personal turmoil, including his relationship with intern Chandra Levy. In the interview, Condit says, "I know what they want me to say. They want me to say that I did her." He goes on to say, "She wasn't getting anything out of me," referring to Chung. "She wasn't going to break me, no way. I came very close to saying, 'Hey, Connie, you got any other questions besides the ones on that yellow pad?'" Well, the full interview is in the September issue of Esquire.
Firefighters in Oregon are in a battle to save thousands of homes. Two growing wildfires are threatening to merge into one enormous blaze. Across the state, there are more than a dozen major fires burning more than 350,000 acres. The fire front, 25 miles long, and it's approaching several small towns. 17,000 residents have been told they may have to evacuate.
I've been living here about 2 months, and already I'm in danger of fire.
Can't help but worry some, but I try to transfer it to prayer.
The town of Selma is in the worst danger. A fleet of bulldozers there trying to dig out massive fire breaks or ditches in the hopes of keeping the flames from reaching homes.
Well, BMW is recalling 56,000 X5 sport utility vehicles and 39,000 Minis worldwide. The German luxury automaker says it needs to fix transmission and brake problems. BMW says the defects have yet to cause any accidents or injuries. The Mini and Mini Cooper have a problem with a cable connecting the gear shift to the gearbox, which could result in the car getting stuck in one gear. The X5 has a problem with the brake pedal shaft, which could result in a sudden loosening of the pedal and loss of brake power at low speeds or while parking.
Terror strikes again this morning in the heart of Jerusalem. An unknown number of people are dead. At least 30 others are wounded after a murder-suicide bomber detonated his weapon this morning inside a college cafeteria in Israel. As one witness describes it, there was a terrorist and he blew up. This is the second consecutive day of bomb attacks in the disputed Israeli capital. This explosion occurred inside the Frank Sinatra cafeteria at Hebrew University in Jerusalem.
Well, what threat does Iraq pose to U.S. security, and what is the U.S. responsibility to Iraq when Saddam Hussein is gone? Those are just two of the questions Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld will hear when he appears at a Senate hearing today. Lawmakers are expected to ask tough questions about the Bush administration's plans to extend the war on terrorism to Iraq. Rumsfeld is expected to testify that Iraq does have biological and chemical weapons and aspires to build a nuclear arsenal.
American troops are wrapping up one arm of the war on terrorism, a 6-month deployment to the Philippines. The goodbye ceremonies mark the end, for now, of the U.S. cooperative venture aimed at Muslim rebels with ties to al-Qaeda. The exercise involved 1,200 Green Beret Special Forces, support personnel, and military engineers. Now, a few will stay on to finish several infrastructure projects on a nearby island that was once a stronghold of the al-Qaeda-linked guerrillas.
6:47 is our time, and we'll recap this morning's top stories when we return.
Also, we're in for a hazy day for the last day of July. We'll get a last check with Monica and Melissa. You're watching News 10. Good morning. 6:50 is our time, and as our producer Brian Schultz just said, the most dangerous crowd in television, right there. You're looking at them.
They are the backbone of News 10.
They're pointing to each other, too.
Yeah, it's his fault, no. Okay, back to the Spruce Goose, the Howard Hughes famous flying boat.
Can we clear this once and for all?
Yes.
All right.
It was in Long Beach. I saw it there in the early 90s. It moved in 1992 to McMinnville, Oregon. So I wasn't telling tall tales.
Sharon made a mistake this morning. Mark it on your calendars.
6:50 is our time. Do we want to go ahead and see what Monica's up to?
Sure.
I'm here. Okay. I'm up to some pretty good weather, actually. We're going to start off with some hazy sunshine this morning. Area temperatures are just a tad bit warmer because we did see the cloud cover overnight. Right now, for Modesto, we have a current reading of 63, Marysville 61, San Francisco at 55, and Fairfield 57. Storm Tracker Network, Elk Grove at 58 degrees, south wind about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And moving along, we go to Auburn, 66 degrees, northeast wind at 1 in downtown Sacramento. It is 58. Air quality for today will be in the healthy range, at least for Sacramento, in the moderate range, 100, and good range for Stockton and Modesto, a no burn day for the northern San Joaquin Valley. Across our Pacific satellite image, you can see we've got quite a bit of cloud cover moving onshore. That coming in from the remnants of Hurricane Elida. Now, most of that cloud cover is starting to move farther up to the north, so we will see clearing from south to north today, but expect hazy skies and humid weather at least one more day before we start to dry things out. For the Bay Area, we start off with low clouds and fog, 64 the afternoon high for San Francisco. In the Coastal Valley area today will be partly cloudy to start and then clearing late this afternoon. Highs will be in the upper 80s for Fairfield, 93 for Vacaville. And then for the Sacramento area, daytime highs similar to yesterday in the low to mid 90s with a bit of cloud cover to get us started this morning. And the northern San Joaquin Valley looking good for today. Northwest winds to about 15 miles per hour. Highs will be in the 90s. And the southern foothills partly cloudy to get us started and then mostly sunny late this afternoon. afternoon. Highs will be in the 90s. Northern foothills, partly cloudy skies with a potential for a late day afternoon shower. And we'll see dry conditions for the valley, high of 94 for Marysville. High country forecast, partly cloudy, a chance of an isolated afternoon thunderstorm. Highs will be in the low to mid 80s. Our 7-day forecast, 93 today and 92 tomorrow. We wrap up the work week on Friday, 90, and our first weekend of August. Highs will be in the low to mid 90s and will stay in the mid 90s Monday and Tuesday. Now on to our morning commute. Here's Melissa.
Biggest problems we have to contend with this morning, just the normal crowds. 99 busy right around Mac, 47th and 12th. I-5 coming from south of town, a little slow through the pocket and at the downtown exchange. 50 looking good other than the normal slowdowns, including over the Sunrise Bridge. Things look a whole lot better at the split than they did yesterday. We had that problem right around Madison. No such headaches this morning, other than, as I mentioned, a lot of company, and that includes over top of town this morning as well. Making your way out the door in the Central Valley, no major accidents for you. And headed into the Bay Area, just the normal delays. Downtown exchange looking good as I-5 meets up with the Cap City Freeway. No delays exiting the Cap City Freeway downtown. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Melissa. 6:53 now is the time. A new study says Sacramento is experiencing its first negative job growth in 9 years.
And the news coming out of Pravidian Financial Corporation is not helping matters. The company says it's closing its Sacramento office. And for more on that story, let's go live to News 10's Karen Massey. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Sharon. Word of the shutdown here at the Pravidian office just off I-5 in El Camino came yesterday. The move is putting about 300 people out of work. We met one lady who was on vacation and arrived to find the parking lot empty and office doors closed. She says there have been rumors about layoffs for several weeks and workers thought that there might be a turnaround. Sadly, that did not happen, and the employees say that they've heard that there may be a brief meeting with the laid off employees today. Now, earlier this year, the same office laid off 350 people. Pravidian says it's going to be closing its Fairfield office by the end of the year, and that move is going to put another 500 workers out of jobs. Back to you.
Karen, the company says it's seen its earnings eroded. How much are we talking about here?
Well, last year, during the first 6 months of the year, Pravidian earned $462 million. You compare that with the first 6 months of this year, when they only earned $163 million. So a very big turn down for them.
Thanks very much. Karen Massey reporting live in Sacramento this morning. 6:54 now is the time, and we start our news wrap-up with a look at some of the stories that we are following in Northern California. An officer shortage in the Sacramento Police Department has prompted a plan to rehire recently retired officers. The former officers would be hired for just a few months up to a year until academy graduates and new hires can fill the vacancies. But critics say the department is chronically short of officers. They point to the city's traffic division as seriously understaffed and say that that can mean a higher risk for traffic accidents.
A Modesto police officer remains in critical condition after a violent crash Monday morning. Sergeant Steve May was helping Stanislaus County deputies chase a stolen truck. May's patrol car and the speeding truck collided at an intersection. The 18-year-old driver of the truck was killed. Sergeant May suffered fractures to his skull, jaw, leg, and arm. Doctors are waiting for the swelling in his brain to go down before they can reevaluate his condition.
A plea bargain was expected yesterday for a woman accused of running over and killing a worker in a Sacramento cone zone. The deal never took place. Defendant Tanzania Jackson pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and drunk driving. Jackson allegedly struck and killed 32-year-old Jim Bridges last May while he was working in a cone zone of Northrop Avenue. Family and friends were surprised but hopeful to learn the case is now headed to trial.
The Tracy chapter of Tough Love will have its first meeting in a few weeks. The organization is for parents whose kids may be in trouble with drugs or the law or acting violently at home. The Tracy chapter is being started by a woman who is having trouble controlling her teenage son. And this chapter is getting help from a church, and parents say they are learning that they are not alone.
In just a few hours, Pope John Paul II will elevate a Mexican Indian into sainthood. For Catholics of Mexican ancestry in Northern California, the canonization of Juan Diego is much more than a celebration of sainthood. It is a cultural triumph. Juan Diego will become the first indigenous Mexican to be elevated into sainthood. The U.S. National Shrine to the Virgin of Guadalupe is in downtown Sacramento. Parishioners there are preparing for a major celebration today.
And there's a new smoking ban on the books this morning in Sacramento. It calls for smoke-free entryways at all city-owned buildings. The Sacramento City Council approved the ordinance yesterday. It restricts smoking within 20 feet of entrances to city-owned and leased buildings. The Lung Association pushed for the ordinance. It takes effect August 29th, and Sacramento joins the ranks of about 10 other California cities and counties with similar restrictions.
6:57 now is the time. This time yesterday morning, we had all kinds of problems. The weather looked great, but the roads yesterday morning were just in deep trouble, and now pretty good.
Yeah, I apologize about that yesterday. Wasn't driving.
Not your fault. I understand that.
Yeah, we're in very good shape this morning.
Nice that the husband comes to the defense of the wife.
And I didn't cause the accident either. And Monica, the weather both days have looked good.
Yeah, a little bit humid for today, much like yesterday. We're going to see some hazy sunshine, starting off with clouds this morning. Those should clear. Sunset around at 8:17, by then around 78 degrees.
So has anyone else seen the spruce goose other than me?
I don't think it even exists.
No, but I read Howard
It's
Hughes'
the Howard Hughes flying boat, McMinnville,
The world according to
Oregon.
Sharon.
Did you ride on it?